Rain held off. Got a little mist, which was probably good. Ball probably needs to be moist this week a little bit here in the forecast. Looking like rain, but we'll see. Won't keep the good dog fans away, though. I know that. What do y'all got?
Well, the offensive line, the second, I guess, Darren Rowe was seeing, I guess, some of the shakeups maybe you were talking about with Isaiah, that tackle, and Colton, Deshaun at right guard, and I guess it was Theus at right tackle.
Y'all got pictures of that, too? You got photos?
Making sure that was kind of what you had
Well,
in mind for this week.
that's not necessarily the final lineup, but that was one of the ones we've used this week. Yeah.
Yes, it's been interesting.
Still competition going on.
I'm wondering. There's been a lot of stuff about who's going to start, and obviously in the last couple of weeks, you addressed on the teleconference today about Patone that some of that was to see if you could keep it a secret. How much is gamesmanship and misinformation part of what you're trying to do?
Well, if you make a change, you'd prefer the other team not to know. That's all. I mean, if you make a change at a quarterback position and a guy might have just a little bit of a different style to his game, you just assume the other team not know if you can help it. I mean, you don't want to be, sitting there being having all this deception. But it's one thing to be deceptive; it's another thing just not to say. Just not to say. A lot of times I just do not say. You're like, well, why is that? Well, because if the other team knows, it's just like, to make it real drastic, it'd be like saying, we've got a fake punt in this week, and we're only going to run it during punt safe. So I just want y'all to know that, so everybody's happy. But, I mean, the less information the team has, the better off you are. That's just all there is to it. It's just like in war, I mean, why there's intelligence agencies trying to figure out what the other side's going to do. The less the other team knows, the better. So that's all it's about. It's not gamesmanship or trying to be coy or trying to whatever. It's just about trying to not give the other team an edge. That's all.
You're talking it's harder to do now.
Well, yeah. I mean, with social media like it is, and I mean, it used to be, it would take a lot of word of mouth maybe to get across the country or across the state lines or whatever it is. Now it's just, all it takes is, one guy to, tell his mom, and his mom's got a friend, and the friend tells somebody innocently, not thinking anything big about it, and then before you know it, everybody's reporting it. And so, I've said this for a few years now, there are no secrets really. Every once in a while you might sneak one by, but usually you can't.
Is that frustrating when something like that does happen?
Not so much because, I mean, you'd prefer that it doesn't happen, but it wasn't like at the beginning of the week we said, hey, don't anybody say anything about anything. I didn't do that. But, there's so many people that are involved in this thing. I'm not going to name anybody by name or even by what they do, but there's just a lot of people around, so it's just hard to keep anything too tight.
Are you trying to keep the quarterback situation under wraps?
We don't know right now. No, just like I said. So we're repping a couple guys. We're trying to make a decision on who to play, and I said that Grayson and Bryce have gotten the most reps with the ones so far, but Fatone's got a few as well, so we'll see.
Mark, with the changes that you're contemplating on the offensive line, about mostly improving the interior of it?
Well, it's about creating competition, a big part of it. If you get 5 guys in there and they don't think there's anybody threatening their spot, sometimes they could get complacent. But I think if everybody, I just think we all know competition sharpens people's focus. And that's what we're trying to do, create some real life competition, not pretend like, because sometimes like, oh, coach is just kind of fooling with me and I know in the end I'll be fine. I don't know if that's how they think, but I mean, I think there's a little bit of that going on with that age of a guy. So, the more competitive the situation is, I think the better you get out of guys on a daily basis. Even the preparation, is better because I think everybody's at a little bit more of a heightened awareness of their position.
Coach, Kentucky attempts and throws for more passing yards than any team you guys have played so far. How do you think your secondary is going to respond to that after playing so many run-heavy teams?
Good question. They do throw and catch the ball well. Got some very talented wide receivers. And their quarterback, I don't think there's any doubt he's an NFL prospect. I think he's a definite draft pick. Talked to some scouts today about him, actually. They agree with me that he's got the tools to do it. Definitely got the size and the all the throws in his arsenal, but he's very mobile for a big man. And he's going to create some problems because when you throw and catch as well as they do, and you have some mobility at the quarterback position, it's tough because a lot of things you want to do in coverage to handle a really good passing game tends to make you vulnerable to that quarterback running the ball. So that's what I'm most concerned about with him.
Mark, yesterday you mentioned 2011 as far as kind of turning things around, and 2006 comes to mind too, especially because it was late.
Yeah, probably more like what we're dealing with now. Yeah.
So, based on your experience, what is it? I mean, simply put, what does it take to turn things around?
I've been saying it a bunch, but I think that you need to really focus on what you can control, and that's your job. What's my job? I think that we need to our players and our coaches need to keep from dwelling on anything other than what do I do on this play, what do I do on this day, what do I do on this what do I do this week as far as preparation. You got to focus on your job, and you got to do it the best you can. You got to stay positive, and you got to stay united. You got to stay together. And we've always been able to do that. And I have a lot of faith that we'll do it again.
Did you need to talk to the team about the defense not pointing fingers at the offense, given what's happening? We didn't say that specifically. We talk about everybody knowing that the reality is. I'm trying to look at the board here, but decide if I should draw on the board or not. But basically, if you had a pie, and the whole pie is the total blame. Well, everybody's got a slice of that pie. Everybody's got something, even if it's this small, there's something that probably you could have done better to help us win. So you focus on that, and let everybody else focus on their piece of the pie. And you could think in your mind whose pie is bigger than the other, whose piece is bigger than the other. You can do that if you want, but that's not your job. It's not your job to focus on that. You focus on your issue. What can you do better to help us win? That's what you focus on, and that's what we talk about.
So Tom's kind of a self-described no-nonsense kind of competitor. Is that something that you see as an advantage?
I like that about him. I love that about him. He is a very competitive guy, hard-working guy, unbelievable. It just, I might have said this, I might not have said this publicly, but I really admire the guy. This week he went to Coach Schottenheimer and said, "Look, can I work some scout team safety? Because I want to make sure I stay in shape. And when it's time for me to get reps on offense, I'll run over there and get reps on offense. But if I'm not getting reps on offense, I think I can help the team by giving a good look on the scout team as a safety." So he's back there running around and getting the scout team juiced up, fired up. And then when it's time to take offensive plays, he runs over there and takes offensive plays. I mean, that's leadership to me. That's a competitive spirit. That's a guy who wants to help Georgia win. And I admire that about him.
Would Bryce playing quarterback, if he did that, would that preclude also punting? Are you fine with him both?
It wouldn't change that. It wouldn't change that. And don't be shocked to see Colin punt again. I mean, I think they'll be before it's all over. He probably will. But I'll say this about Colin: he could have got all bent out of shape and just kind of shut down, but he didn't. He's punting both of them are punting their tail off in practice. I mean, yesterday's practice, I'm like, look at this. Maybe we should have started a little competition earlier. There's another guy that there's really not another punter in sight, but then all of a sudden, Bryce, out of just knowing you had to have somebody to go be back there if Colin got hurt, let's put him in there. So before you know it, he starts hitting them pretty good. And we're like, you know what, maybe he can do this thing. And then, sure enough, we put him in there. And but when we made the decision to change, even that last week of the open date, all of a sudden Colin really started booming the ball better. Was it because of the competition? Probably. But no, I think if we wouldn't say, if Bryce is getting a bunch of quarterback snaps that we wouldn't let him punt. I think he'd still be the punter. And if something happened, obviously, with him at quarterback, then Colin can do it.
Does they take Thurman in the picture at all, getting some running back reps the rest of the year?
I don't know about the rest of the year, but right now, not right now. That he's not getting reps with the ones and twos right now.
He had such a strong spring.
Not really. We just feel like we've got enough depth there with the guys we got.
Time for one more question, anybody?
Okay.